Alright, time to watch some videos. Let's do it. Let's watch the videos. This is good. This is a good video. I like it. We're gonna play it, and maybe I'll link it.
It's pretty clear.
You should go watch it on your own.
Eliminate car accidents with automation.
With each search, we train it to be better. Sometimes we type in the search and it tells us the answer before you've finished asking the question. You know, who is the president of Kazakhstan? And it'll just tell you. You don't have to go to the Kazakhstan national website to find out. Didn't used to be able to do that. A neural net is something very close to a simulation of how the brain works. It's very probabilistic, but with contextual relevance. The average person, they don't see killer robots going down the streets. They're like, what are you talking about? Man, we want to make sure that we don't have killer robots going down the street. Once they're going down the street, it is too late. Google acquired DeepMind several years ago. DeepMind operates as a semi-independent subsidiary of Google. The thing that makes DeepMind unique is that DeepMind is absolutely focused on creating digital superintelligence, an AI that is vastly smarter than any human on Earth, and ultimately smarter than all humans on Earth combined. And the DeepMind system can win at any game. It can already beat all the original Atari games. It is superhuman. It plays the games at super speed in less than a minute. DeepMind's AI has administrator-level access to Google's servers to optimize energy usage at the data centers. However, this could be an unintentional Trojan horse. DeepMind has to have complete control of the data centers, so with a little software update, that AI could take complete control of the whole Google system, which means they can do anything. They can look at all your data, you can do anything. We're rapidly headed towards digital superintelligence that far exceeds any human. I think it's very obvious. AI doesn't have to be evil to destroy humanity. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill. We have 5 years. I think digital superintelligence will happen in my lifetime. 100%. I think it's incredibly important that AI not be other. It must be us. And I could be wrong about what I'm saying. I'm certainly open to ideas if anybody can suggest a path that's better. But I think we're really going to have to either merge with AI or be left behind.
Okay, there we go. That's one video. Let's watch another video. I don't know if I support these guys, but they had an interesting thing they did here. Found this on Google search.
They show the company's willingness to stick a camera
Actually,
in your
YouTube search.
bedroom and spy on you and your children, and then of course use that information to sell you things. That's how surveillance capitalism works. But currently, Google doesn't have a camera in every bedroom or every home.
Mostly, I just want to get to this little study they did.
Pockets, though.
It's kind of
The
interesting.
question is, how much information is Google getting from those phones?
How much info?
We put a couple of our smartest producers on
kind of
this, and then
fun,
we send Fox
what they
News
did
headlines anchor Brett Larson out to investigate. Watch.
We know that Google is tracking us. We agree to it when we set up our phones. So we wanted to figure out what exactly Google is learning about us throughout the day. So here's what we're going to do. We have two identical phones. The only difference between these two phones is this one is in airplane mode. Both of the phones lack a SIM card, and they haven't been set up to access any Wi-Fi networks. So for all intents and purposes, these phones have no connection to a data network. We're going to keep them with us throughout the day. And while I travel around DC, we're going to figure out just what Google is finding out about me.
Our first stop, Sim's convenience store, just outside our Fox bureau, for a quick coffee. From there, we took a walk to the Capitol and took a quick walk around the Senate office buildings, and then decided to hop in a car and head around town.
Hello. We're going to the Children's Hospital, please.
To run our test, we had to do more than walk the block, so we took a tour around our nation's capital. First, due north to the Children's National Medical Center Hospital, then west to St. Albans School and the National Cathedral. Our tour around town was a 14-mile journey that lasted more than an hour. The entire time, the phones had no access to the internet.
Oh my goodness.
Not a Wi-Fi connection and not any cellular data service. It almost seemed quaint to assume that Google wouldn't even be able to collect data on me.
Let's head back to the bureau, my friend. Oh, that church is beautiful.
Google's business model is simple. Collect data on its users and then use that data to sell targeted ads. It's a business model called surveillance capitalism. But does that critical data collection work even when your phones aren't connected?
These guys are probably biased. They want you to start using
bureau in DC, and
surveillance.
we've got both of our phones.
They want you to start using surveillance capitalism buzzword. Why? I don't know. I don't care about that buzzword.
Exactly how we left with them. The only difference, really, I snapped a couple of bad selfies at the National Cathedral.
Doesn't matter what you call
They
it.
have stayed
What matters is what we're about to find out.
for the entire day. So let's find out what they know. This is our man.
I interrupted him. He said the phones are in his pocket the whole day.
The middle device. It's basically a Wi-Fi network that these phones are going to connect to once we turn their Wi-Fi on. It's going to pass data through it on the way to Google, but on the way, we're actually going to get a copy of the same
Okay,
data.
for the record, that is a crazy looking device given what they're trying to do. I mean, I guess these are some Ethernet cables right here. But that is a really crazy looking device. I don't understand why you wouldn't have your Wi-Fi router just have a record function. This is kind of ridiculous. They're trying to seem really technological when it's probably completely not necessary at all. I guess they're using like a relay and capturing packets between it. I really think, hypothetically at least, you ought to be able to get a Wi-Fi router that simply recorded the packets while it was running. This shows that they're out of control of their software here. That they can't tell the Wi-Fi router what to do, so they had to stick two of them together with a capture point between them, so the thing could go in one, capture, send to the other, blah blah blah.
Data that Google's going to have, we'll be able to decrypt it and then find out where we've been throughout the day.
Within minutes, the number.
I guess it probably is true that they're out of control of the
Just rolled
data.
in.
Not the data, the software, out of control what the code does. Really difficult to control what our computers do these days. Even though computers, if you look up von Neumann and how they were built, they're just a master-slave architecture. You give them a set of instructions and they just endlessly repeat those instructions. That's all they are. They're a little electronic loop that just says next instruction, next instruction, next instruction. It does exactly what it's told. But as computers have developed, one of the really big developments is not to let the people owning them decide what to tell them to do, which is great because, as Elon Musk is pointing out, pretty soon superhuman intelligence will be deciding what they do instead of you, and that's just how that's going to be unless you do something about it.
The phone that wasn't on airplane mode registered more than 100 locations, 130
This is the point of this video.
and even 152 barometric readings. As soon as it hooked up to our Wi-Fi, it transmitted 300 kilobytes of data straight to Google. The phone even logged our exact...
You don't think kilobytes are much, but, you know, if all you're talking about is where you went on the Earth, you could say a lot in that, right? That's 300,000 bytes. Latitude, longitude is two numbers, and the number's often stored in 32 bytes. Even if they're using 64 bytes for a number, then that still just means 128 bytes per thing, so this would give you, like, 2,000 or 3,000 lat-long pairs on a map or something like that. If you have, you know, 100 bytes times 3,000 should be 300,000 bytes, which is roughly what he's describing.
Tracking us all around town, the Capitol, the hospital, the school, and the cathedral.
Now you may notice what's missing here is the exact route that we took, but it got that data too. It knows when I got out of the car.
The metadata has a time log down to the very second, tracking everything when they think that you're walking, riding, and yes, even getting out of the car.
Okay, so you're thinking, this isn't a big deal, I'll just put my phone in airplane mode. Yeah, we thought of that too. This is the other phone that we had with us that, no SIM card, also remained in airplane mode the entire time. Let's see what kind of data it captured.
The phone with airplane mode activated actually logged more locations and activities than the other phone, and it also transferred hundreds of kilobytes of data to Google as soon as it was activated.
The only thing that's missing from this map is our stop at the Children's Hospital, but it still knows we were...
There you go. This is a really interesting sort of log. I've not ever used the program that they use to generate this, but it's certainly kind of interesting, right? I guess you have, what, barometric pressure, the amount that you're on foot, exiting vehicle, yeah.
There
in vehicle.
Exiting vehicle, 100% accuracy.
Through complicated user agreements and free software, Google gets users to sign away their privacy for nothing. They're even following you in the places that most people would expect total privacy: government buildings, a children's hospital, a private school, a church. Every move you make, every step you take, Google is watching you.
Now, in a statement to Fox News, Google told us that users who want to opt out of tracking should turn off location history, but doing that is harder than you'd think, and most of Google's apps include hitting queries that automatically sign you up for the surveillance. For now, we will continue looking into how Silicon Valley sells your privacy, but until then, just remember, when you're using a free online...
There you go, some junk on the internet, but it's interesting, right? Pretty interesting.